What are the issues? What are the issues in getting there?
One of the issues is who pays for the devices. The next big issue, I think, is rate design. It may not sound very exciting, but it's very important because that's a reflection as to what people are actually paying on a real-time basis. And there's concern that people will have rate shock. How these devices and these policies are rolled out, because it's such a change from the status quo, needs to be done in a way that kind of guides consumers throughout the process so that they don't feel like they're paying more and getting less.
It's a good point. I mean, an awful lot of consumers probably have no idea what they pay per kilowatt hour, and in addition, I know a lot of consumers have been confused over the last several years just by the changing nature of the industry and how it's regulated, and the fact that the power might come from different sources. They thought it always just came from one source, and so forth.
It's evolving before our eyes, and people are confused. And right now, when they pay a flat rate at the retail level all the time, it's a very inefficient system because the price of power actually fluctuates quite wildly. The 200 hours a year when the peak demand is on the system, power is extremely valuable. But if people don't have the right price signals to conserve, you can't blame them if they don't.
There's a lot of talk about budget cutting in Washington, and more than a lot of talk, there is going to be some budget cutting.
Right.
How do you manage the business? It's not a business, but how do you manage the commission when your resources are uncertain and may, in theory, even be reduced?
A lot of it does fall on our chairman, and that's the part of the job I don't envy of him. The nice thing about FERC is we're more fee-based, that people fund us through their power bills, so we don't take tax revenue from the general fund. Nevertheless, we are also under an austere directive in terms of cutting back on travel. I think the main challenge is making sure people stay focused on our priorities. We have an enormous number of issues and rulemakings and orders on our plate. It's easy to be distracted when you're not quite sure what's happening with funding of the federal government. But I tend to think we'll get through it all right. It's a talented agency, and I won't be there forever, but I think the American people are well served by the staff of FERC.